All right. Good evening. Just gonna pull up the chat on my phone here. There we go. All right. Oh no, Alice, get off the table with all the equipment, please. Please. There you go. Let's go over here, Alice. Come on. All right. A good evening. Ooh. Oh, I got the chat pulled up on my phone here. And happy Tuesday. How are you doing, Alice? So excited. I've been gone since 5:45 this morning. And it's 6:58 now. So she misses me. She misses me. Tuesdays are long days of work. We're trying out the sunset lamp again. I kind of like the shadow it casts behind me. And take this jacket off when we get started, but it's cold. But we've got just 2 minutes. If you have blocks, of course, we'll tuck those up to the top. They'll come in handy later. We're going to be doing hips tonight. Working towards frog pose, which is a nice big hip opener that we'll slowly build up to. But this should be a pretty gentle class, which is good because I am quite sore today. My core hurts when I'm moving around. All right, I'm gonna take this jacket off. And we'll get started in just a minute. Where is my water? Oh, it's in the kitchen. I forgot to bring it over. All right. Filled it up, so we are good to go. A little hydration. And it's 7 o'clock, so let's get started on our backs tonight. If you're just popping in, grabbing 2 blocks if you have them, just tossing those up towards the top of the mat so they're handy when you may want them. Let's come find a nice, comfortable spot on the back. You could stretch the legs out long here, or I do recommend taking bottoms of the feet together, knees wide, so we can start opening up the hips just with this gentle, passive stretch. And if this feels like a lot to start, you can always bring your blocks to the outside of the legs to support them here. Let's start with just a few nice deep breaths. Letting the exhales relax the body a little closer to the mat. Feeling the shoulders soften. Noticing if you're carrying any tension in the jaw from the day. Let's take 3 to 5 more nice deep breaths here. You can even close the eyes if that feels good for you. Great, take one more full breath here. And then if you're in your knees wide position, let's reach the hands down to the outside of the legs to gently close and give the knees a hug into the chest. Taking them wide around the ribs, hands can hang on to the shin bones here. Maybe finding a little rock side to side. Letting the low back work down into the mat. Still keeping that nice full breath going. Great. And if you don't want to do rocks, you could also gently move the legs side to side, just getting some gentle movements, anything that feels good in your hips here. We'll take a few more moments. You could take some circles. If you are circling though, let's switch that direction. We're just going to take 2 more breaths. All right, let's start to slow any movements to a stop. Releasing to plant the left foot and taking right leg up towards the sky. Let's flex. Starting to bend into the right knee, bringing it towards the outside of the torso. We're coming to find half happy baby. The right hand could grab the back of the thigh here, the right big toe, or the outer edge of the foot. And you could also use a strap here as well to assist you in this shape. And something I like to take in half happy baby is rolling to the outer edge of the left foot, opening the hip, adding a little counterbalance here. All right, let's take 2-3 more breaths in this one. All right, if you're on the outer edge of the left foot, let's bring that back to plant, releasing the right leg to cross a right angle over left thigh. We're finding a figure 4 here, but we're going to take this right into a twist. Exhaling to knock this shape over to the left as the right foot reaches for the ground or a block. And we're thinking about shoulders anchoring down towards the mat here as much as possible. Let's take 2-3 breaths. All right, we're going to take one of my favorite transitions here. Let's start to stretch the left leg out long, rolling over onto the left side body, all the way over onto the stomach. So we're landing in a little half frog, like half army crawl position. So the right knee is pulled up by the side body, flexing into that foot. Forearms can cross in front to bring the head down to rest here. Just taking a gentle opening through the hip. Great, and again, we'll find about 2-3 more breaths here. All right, when you're ready, we're going to take that back over onto the back. So rolling over onto like a pancake, just flip it over. Bringing the feet up to plant, and we're going to take that little sequence into the other side. Taking left leg up to the sky, flexing the foot, bending into the left knee, bringing it towards the outside of the torso. Left hand can grab for back of thigh, big toe, outer edge of foot. Or you could add a strap here if you'd like a strap in this one. Finding half happy baby. If you took it on the other side, flexing the right foot, rolling to the outer edge, adding that little counterbalance, opening the hip a little more. Let's take a couple breaths here. Great. If you're on the outer edge of the right foot, so replace that back down and releasing left foot to cross left ankle over right thigh. We're going to take this figure four right into a twist, exhaling to knock the shape over to the right as left foot reaches for the ground or a block. Thinking about the shoulders anchoring down. We'll take a few breaths to sink into this twist. Great, take one more breath here. And we're going to start to transition over onto the stomach. So starting to stretch the right leg out as you roll onto the right side body, all the way to flip over onto the stomach with the left knee hugged up by the side body, flexing into that foot. You can relax the head down towards the arms. You could relax it down to a block as well here. Let's take a few breaths in this gentle hip opener. Or you can add a little hip lift, so pressing into the outer edges of the feet to gently lift the hips a couple inches. Try not to let the knees close, but keeping them as wide as you were on the ground. And let's take the hips back down, bringing the hands to the front of the ankles. Inhaling up nice and tall with the spine here. And with an exhale, thinking about keeping that length in the spine as you hinge forward and fold. Keeping that as long as you can before releasing to round. Inhaling, take that all the way up. Exhaling to hinge forward and fold. Nice. Take a couple more of these spine waves. If you feel like you can't go very far with a flat back, try taking the feet a little further away or propping yourself up on a block for this one. That can really help add a lot more space. Awesome. Let's do one more like this. And the next time we're up nice and tall, leaning back to tuck the legs off to the side, coming forward to your tabletop position. And taking wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. With an inhale, reaching the heart forward here, drawing the shoulder blades together down. And with an exhale, pushing away to round and contract. Nice. Inhaling to open that up. Exhaling away. Take one more like this. Oh, I can really feel this in the front of my core. It's so sore. Awesome. And slowly start to bring the spine back to neutral for a moment. Then taking the hands a step further away here. So we're getting a bit more of a reach. The wrists are much further past the shoulders. We're going to try and add the hips into some spine movement here. We'll bump the hips over to the right, like you're pushing the hip out, starting to shift forward, squeezing the glutes as you send the hips down any amount here, almost like you're coming through upward facing, but with the legs down or the knees down, bumping the hips over to the left, and then pushing them back almost like you're coming to a child's pose. Inhaling that up and forward. Exhaling to push it back. So we're taking a big circle with the hips, however big feels comfortable for you this evening. As we start to find some more movement through there. All right, let's take one more in this direction and then we'll switch. Next time you're pushed back, let's switch and take it over to the left. Great, last three. Last two. And last one. Great, let's meet back up in our tabletop position. Tucking the right toes to extend back through that leg. And let's take that right foot and step it over to the left. Exhaling to peek over the left shoulder, finding a stretch through the right side body. All right, with the next inhale, let's drag that right leg back to extend behind. And exhale to sweep it all the way over to the right to plant the foot, toes facing forward, and an extended leg tabletop. With an inhale, reaching the heart forward here. Exhaling to push away and round. Let's take two more cat-cows. I find this sits a little more into my inner thigh, which is really nice. One more time. And then bringing the spine back to neutral. We're going to take a couple more breaths here. You can stay up on the hands. You could keep going through your cat-cows. You could take it down to forearms. Or you could push it back like you're coming to child's pose, sending the hips back towards the left heel, walking the arms forward. Maybe the forehead comes down towards the mat or a block. I'm going to take 3 more breaths, and whichever variation feels good for you. And slowly taking it back up onto the hands. Inhaling to sweep the right leg back, lift it up. Exhale, steps the right foot to the outside of the right hand, lizard lunge. Blocks are really nice to have under the hands as you start to get into this lizard lunge. Think about tucking the tailbone, sending the hips down. So we open up the hip flexors. Well, open up the hip flexor on the left. I'm going to take a few breaths in our lunge here. You can feel free to add any variations that feel good for you. You can stay up on the hands. You could come down to forearms on blocks or the mat. Maybe flexing that right foot, winging that knee out, seeing if you can sink the hips down a little more. Awesome. We're going to take just a couple more breaths here. I like to kind of move my hips a little side to side too. See if I can work down a little more, get into them. Let's take one more breath. And making your way back up to the hands. Blocks can be used here too. Tucking the back toe to lift that knee. Let's turn all the toes to the left long edge of the mat and find a wide fold. Nice. I'm going to walk my front foot forward a little more so my legs can be parallel. Taking a check back, we want ankles in line with the hips here. So we're not super far forward, we're not super far back. Let's take just one more breath in our fold. Great. From here, if you have your blocks, you can start to walk those up towards the top, rebending into that front knee to find lunge, and then stepping it back to a plank. Let's push it back for a quick downward facing dog. Let's take just one big breath in here, and breath out. Let's take the knees back down to tabletop, tucking the left toes to extend back through the leg, stepping that left foot over to the right, and with an exhale, peeking over the right shoulder for that side body stretch. Great. With the next inhale, let's drag that left leg back behind. And exhale to sweep it all the way over to the left to plant the foot, toes facing forward. Moving into our cat-cows, inhaling to reach the heart forward. Exhale, pushes away to round. Let's take 2 more like that. Moving with your breath. And once you finish that last one, you could keep going through cat-cows. You can take it down to forearms, or a slightly more advanced one. You can push the hips back towards the right heel, like you're coming to your child's pose with that extended left leg. And whichever variation, ideally the same one you took on the other side, for 3 more breaths. All right, let's take it back up onto the hands from whichever position you're in. With an inhale, sending the left leg back, lifting. Exhale, steps left foot to the outside of the hand. Grabbing your blocks if you'd like those here as you set up for your lizard lunge. Tucking the tailbone, sending the hips down, opening up the hip flexor. Just like the other side, we'll take a few breaths. You can find any movements here. I like to give a few little wiggles side to side. Maybe flexing the left foot, winging that knee out. Or if it's accessible, you could come down to forearms on blocks of the mat, working even deeper into the hips. Awesome. Let's take about 3 more breaths wherever you are. Feel free to take gentle movements. You don't have to stay still, or you can stay still. Great, last breath. Let's take it back up onto the hands with blocks or not, and we'll tuck the back toe, lift that knee, turning all the toes to the right long edge of the mat, finding a wide fold. Awesome, let's take just a couple breaths here. You can remain passive. You could think about actively squeezing the legs together and then releasing. You could always add a little knee bend side to side as well. Anything that feels good in your hips, really. All for explorative movement. Awesome, let's take 2 more breaths. All right, wherever you are, let's start to turn the toes towards the front, rebending into the front knee, stepping it back to a plank, and pushing it back, downward facing dog. And I love to pedal it through the feet here, moving the hips side to side. When you're ready in your downward facing dog, let's go ahead and take the knees down to a tabletop position. Also, we're going to set up for our frog pose here. So from tabletop, let's step the knees out a little wider. We're going to flex the feet and turn the feet out so the toes are facing away from you. I'm going to look back and see that on this side, not the side facing the wall, my knee is in line with my hips. And my knee is in line with my ankle here. So we want to maintain that. Maybe you come down to forearms on your blocks. Maybe you walk the knees out a little further, sinking down, but trying not to arch through the spine here. Keep the core contracted. Nice, so I keep checking back to make sure that alignment is good as I sink maybe a little further. This can be a pretty intense one on the hips. Great, let's take just a few more breaths. Something I like to do too is almost like PNF stretching, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. So you can remain passive in this pose, or you could add a little active engagement. So I'm going to think about squeezing my legs together and then releasing, seeing if that takes me a little bit deeper. Just squeezing for just a couple seconds. Awesome, let's take one more full breath. And when you're ready, we'll slowly start to pull up out of there, coming back up onto the hands. If you're lowered, let's take a seat right off to one side. Coming in front and taking a crisscross applesauce. Awesome, there's a lot of hip opening. We're going to finish with a gentle twist. Sitting up nice and tall here. With an inhale, taking the left hand towards the right knee. Exhaling to twist to the right. Right hand can fall behind. Go right with an inhale, let's take that back to center. Right hand comes to left knee. With an exhale, twisting the torso towards the left. Great, inhaling that back to center. Let's let the chin fall towards the chest. Taking a slow half circle, left ear over to left shoulder. Take that through chin to chest, right ear to right shoulder. Ooh, my neck is feeling very, very tight tonight. When you're ready, slowly bringing the head back to center. Arms can fall wherever is comfortable. Let's finish with 5 nice deep breaths here. Feeling the exhale, soften the shoulders, soften the jaw. Whenever you're ready, you can give the eyes a blink open. And thank you for being here tonight. What are you doing, Dexter? Are you trying to climb a bookcase? Come here, little guy. And thank you guys for being here tonight. If you enjoyed this, please check out the link below for Patreon. We do multiple live classes a week, and we have literally hundreds of class recordings on there, so there's always something to do. And yeah, coming up the rest of this week, we have Pilates on Thursday, as per usual. And next Wednesday, we'll have our second special class of the month on Patreon. We're going to do a Slinky Slow Flow, which should be a fun one. But yeah, thanks for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And I'll see you guys next time. It's November, but I've got my October 31st is for Taurus shirt on. I live it all year. As you can tell by my Camp Crystal Lake sign. All right, see you guys next time.